what we kind of focus on over here at the foundation, is making sure that all of those things get heard also.
One artist will be chosen from applicants to create next year's design theme. You can apply at thestl.com. All entries due by September 19th. The weather is sponsored by the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm.
Variable clouds this afternoon. A couple of showers around with a high of 76. Clouds break tonight. Low a cooler 54 to 58. Turning out sunny tomorrow. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zaire on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's cloudy and 73 degrees downtown. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
This is the Gashouse Gang on 104.1 FM KMOX. Sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. And by Anderson Hospital, a Newsweek World's Best Hospital. Now, the Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
All right, let's have some fun. We are getting ready for baseball tonight at Busch Stadium. It'll be the Cardinals and the Giants, and that happens tonight. 6:20 for the pregame show here on KMOX and a 7:15 first pitch as we are now into the month of September. And for the first time, this particular crew on the Gashouse Gang gets together in September. It is Mike Claiborne, Matt Pauley, and Chris Ranji for the next hour. We will talk to Terry Pendleton, who is part of that 85 National League Championship team, which is being celebrated tonight at Busch, and also tomorrow, the Hall of Fame induction. So there's a lot happening here in St. Louis. So, fellas, let's start with that. Let's start with the 1985 team. And as I have been talking about this week, that was the first real baseball team that I could remember. I was just old enough to know what was going on, to understand. 1982, I was very, very little, and I vaguely knew that there was something cool happening, but I didn't quite get it yet. But 1985, that was a really special year, Claibs.
No, it really was. And I remember that team. I think that team and the 2004 team were two of the best teams that didn't win the World Series. They had speed, they had a little power, they had solid pitching, and they had really good defense. And, you know, Whitey Herzog was a manager, and I think about that coaching staff. I mean, they had everything. And one play turned the whole thing around when they lost in Kansas City on the botched play by Don Dinkinger at first base. But they had bullpen was solid. I think they stole like over 300 bases that year. Think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably have a division that doesn't have 300 bases stolen as a whole. So, and obviously the game has changed, but that was a really, really good team.
Yeah, that's what I always hear. Now, I was born in '82, so I don't have the direct memories of 1985. But talking to people like Claibs and just hearing, the stories, and then obviously growing up and listening to my dad talk about it, what Claibs just said about the '85 team maybe being the best team that the Cardinals had that didn't win the World Series. I hear that over and over and over. And I mean, you just think about the guy, that whole generation of Cardinals, with Ozzie Smith and Vince Coleman and Willie McGee and Jack Clark, Tom. I mean, it's just an incredible group, and it means so much to Cardinals fans that era of Cardinals baseball did exist.
And what's amazing about it, it's been 40 years. It's just, I know you're going to have these markers in your life where you can't believe something happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago. But for that team to be 40 years ago, that's incredible to me.
Yeah, and for the most part, they've held up well.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of those guys are still active in different careers, but they all kind of came up at the same time. And I thought the key was when Vince Coleman was called up, and he never went back to the minors. And you look at their defense, their infield defense. You had Terry Pendleton at third, who I think is one of the most underrated third basemen in the history of the Cardinals. You think about Arenado and Scott Rowland. I put Terry Pendleton in that conversation any day you want. Kenny Boyer would be a guy. Kenny Reitz for the first month of April was as good of a third baseman, but Terry Pendleton could do a lot of things. He was a switch hitter, and we'll talk with him a little later. Then you had Ozzie at short, Tommy Herr, who had, I think, over 100 RBIs with less than 10 home runs in a season. Jack Clark was a thumper. And Jack Clark was initially a shortstop, and he eventually went to the outfield. They moved him to first base. I mean, they were good on the infield. And then you had Willie Vince and Andy Van Slyke in the outfield. They didn't have any holes in their ball club.
You just look at their stats, and I mean, Vince Coleman, 110 stolen bases. That's crazy stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
Right.
You know what? We won't have 100. We won't have 110 stolen bases as a team this year.
No.
Well,
it's remarkable.
Nobody's going to do that individually probably ever again, unless the game changes in a significant way.
Yeah.
Like a rule
I
change or
right,
something.
Chris. They've tried to encourage it, with the
bigger bases
and the bigger bases. Yeah. The problem is you just don't have enough guys who can steal bases, who can get on enough to steal bases.
Mm-hmm.
That's really one of the bigger issues. I mean, you look at Victor Scott II, he's leading the team with stolen bases. He's in his 30s. But Victor Scott has a tough time getting on first base. And, like I say, you can't steal first. And you look around some other guys who just don't get on base enough to steal. And Vince was able to do that. He was a switch hitter, a self-made switch hitter, where when he came to the Cardinals, George Kissel had him swing a pole like 100 times a day just from the left side. Not a bat, but a pole, just to get used to it. He made himself into a switch hitter once he got to the minors, and that was a plus for him, where he could run from either side of the base. And when you think about Willie McGee and Andy Van Slyke and Ozzie, I mean, they all could steal bases. And I think the catching then was better than it is now.
I don't know if you guys saw this recently. AJ Pierzynski on his Foul Territory show recounted a story, a conversation he had with Oliver Marmol when he was doing a Cardinal game for national TV. And he said that Ollie told him that the agents right now are telling players not to steal bases because you're not going to get rewarded for a stolen base, where you may get discounted for being caught stealing. So when it comes to contracts and arbitration and all that sort of thing, agents are telling players right now, don't steal bases.
I can believe that. I think we have that situation going on in this ball club, where there's a guy who probably could steal more bases but doesn't even try anymore. That's a little bit of a concern, but I think that's league-wide. There are a lot of guys who can steal, but, the fact is they use a number against him, when he gets thrown out and compared to the bases that he steals. So, it's a changing game, and it's going to change again. It has its cycles of 5 to 8 years where things change.
What's really funny about that, just AJ, who is one of my favorite guys, one of my favorite personalities in baseball, and he did rub a lot of people the wrong way, but really good teammate, and kind of that sandpaper that teams talk about. You need
Rusty nail.
Yeah, you need that guy. You need that guy in your dugout, and he was that. He used to do this thing, which I love the genius of it, because he was a really smart ball player. But if there was a guy trying to steal second, and he would pop up to make the throw down to second. If he didn't think he was going to beat him, he'd drop the ball because it didn't count against him. And it was a move. He pulled it all the time, and it was really, really smart because it did not account against the stealing numbers. So really funny stuff. I love that.
I had a pitcher in the minor leagues. He looked at me one day. He's like, Matt, if you hit a guy, does that go against your whip? And I said, no, it's walks and hits. So anytime he went 3-0 on somebody, man, he would just hit somebody, and then it doesn't go against his whip.
There was a guy, Stan Williams was his name. This guy was massive for his era, and he had a clause, or his manager had made a deal with him. If he wouldn't walk guys, it was a plus for him. So he just drilled guys. He just drilled guys, and he threw hard too. And guys are like, "No, man, this isn't fair." But there have been guys who think about that number, and maybe from what they hear from their manager or whatever, and they skirt the issue.
I just think that's good stuff, man. So again, the 40-year anniversary, the reunion at Busch Stadium tonight. Tickets are still available. Cardinals.com if you want to get out there. Ozzie, Willie will be there. Vince, John Tudor, Tommy Herr, Also,
I
Terry.
think
who
they
we
have like
talked to.
about 22.
Yeah,
I think they
it's
have like 22 guys that are going to be
yep.
here.
That's a lot of players from 40 years ago, Claves.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've lost a few in David Green and Joaquin Andahar and Daryl Porter, but
Bob Forsch.
when you can get Bob Forsch, but you can get that many guys that show up 40 years later. That tells me that they all enjoyed that time. And like yesterday, I was at the Cardinals Care Golf Tournament, and Ricky Horton mentioned the fact he hadn't seen Tom Nieto in 20 years. And when you start thinking about that, and the fun thing will be these guys can share stories that only they can appreciate. And I'm just glad that they're back in town. We're going to have Terry Pendleton on later tonight after the ball game. He and Danny Cox, those guys go back to the minors together. So, I mean, they've had a relationship for, probably 50 years. So I'm looking forward to visiting with him at length later tonight.
You're talking about live at Lowe's tonight at the Bullock, across the street from the ballpark, after the post-game show, after Matt Pauley gets done tonight.
You are correct, sir.
So that'll be fun. And you mentioned Danny Cox. We talked to him earlier this week on the station. Tom Lawless was on the show with Amy and me earlier today. He was part of our football pick'em we always do, and going into NFL slate over the weekend, we pick some games. We have a listener who gets involved, and Tom, he must love the NFL. He must pay attention to it. And when we come back, guys, I want to talk a little bit about that because football has already started. Last night was the first game of the season. It was the Eagles beating the Cowboys. Tonight, the Kansas City Chiefs will start their 2025 season in Brazil. So we'll talk a little football, talk baseball, of course. Terry Pendleton at 12:30. And also Mizzou KU is happening tomorrow. So there's a lot
going on this weekend.
Man.
You got the Enjoy Illinois race going on this
That's
weekend
right.
also.
That's on Sunday. Golf is happening this weekend. There is a lot going on. Claiborne, Paulie, Ranji with you on the Gashouse Gang. We appreciate you being with us today on KMOX.
Missouri, get ready. The wait is almost over. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming soon to the Show Me State, and you can sign up today. New Missouri customers can get $300 in bonus bets when we launch on December 1st. Download now and place a $5 bet when we go live. DraftKings Sportsbook brings everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code KMOX to grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when we go live December 1st. That's code KMOX in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments, including pills, chews, and more, 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
Named one of Newsweek's world's best hospitals for 2025, Anderson Hospital is your hospital for life, delivering exceptional, compassionate care to families across the Metro East. From emergency services to specialized treatments, our dedicated team supports your health at every stage. Experience world-class care close to home. Discover the difference at andersonhospital.org. Hey guys, it's Kevin Wheeler. Struggling with low energy, performance issues, or weight gain? Game Day Men's Health has you covered with testosterone therapy, ED treatments, and more, all in a relaxed environment that's like being in the man cave. At Game Day, you get a free testosterone test and consultation all in just an hour. Game Day is the premier men's health clinic with 3 area locations in Chesterfield, O'Fallon, Missouri, and Glen Carbon, Illinois. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com and get back to the top of your game with Game Day Men's Health.
I hear from sellers all the time that they fear they have missed out on the selling market. They are so relieved to learn September, October, and November are strong selling months. With low inventory and hopefully lower interest rates, this fall will be a hot one for real estate. I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. You may have heard me say, why pay more than 4 for years? Now it's why pay more than 2, saving you even more money. Call me 314-441-4444. And remember, why pay more than 2?
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri, Kansas, and Nevada.
News, talk, cars. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Mike Claiborne, Matt Pauley, Chris Ranji on the Gashouse Gang every weekday from 12 until 1 o'clock, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Saliga Heating and Cooling.com, also by Anderson Hospital. So, fellas, we've got the football season starting up here in just a moment. First, before we get to that, I'd like to read this text message, and you're welcome to join the show at 314-436-7900. And this texter says, I am very tired of hearing how Don Denkinger robbed the Cardinals of a World Series title. 1, bad umpire calls part of the game. Good team figures out a way to win despite a bad call. 2, if you saw the whole series, it was absurd to blame the title loss on one bad call. The Cardinals played terribly the whole series. They stunk regardless of the bad call. What do you think about that, Claiborne?
Well, you know what? I don't know how you can stink when you take it to a game 7. So obviously they were playing well enough to win the World Series. So I would tell them that I would disagree with them on that. Yeah, there are plays that probably they like to have back, especially game 7. But they obviously were doing a lot of things right in order to get that far. So I tell them to stick it.
Yeah. Even what happened immediately after the call in game 6, there was still an opportunity there. But it's I don't think any of us are like overly fired up about this. We're not yelling and screaming and hoping that
no, not at all.
That, you know,
hey,
so
listen,
that's an odd thing to be fired up about.
Yeah, that Kansas City team was a good team. I'm not taking anything away from them, okay? But I'm sure had that play been made, the game would have had a legitimately different outcome. And that's the one thing people from that side of the state or Royals fans do not acknowledge. And it was ironic that they celebrated. We were in Kansas City the weekend they celebrated their 2 World Series, and they had every highlight you can find for the one when they won in 2015. And the 85, they had some pretty good highlights, but they never showed that Denkinger play.
Nope. Which was
didn't show that one at all.
Yeah. Well,
you know, and some people felt he should have got a ring too.
You know, I was in Kansas City the first time the Cardinals and Royals played an interleague game, you know, back in the mid-90s. And when they introduced the umpires over the PA system, they introduced 4 umpires, and then they said, unfortunately, Don Denkinger could not be with us tonight.
No.
Gee, I wonder why. And you know, the to put a cap on it, Whitey Herzog used to have a golf tournament here every year, and Whitey invited Don Denkinger to the event, and he showed up. And you know, everybody makes a mistake in this game, okay? And most people moved on from it, but I mean, it's one that we will always look back on. It was probably a mistake on the biggest stage of the game, especially at that time of the game and that time of the series, at what we remember. That didn't make Don Denkinger a bad umpire. He just had a bad night.
Yeah, and one bad call. The texter is right. Yes, the Cardinals still had an opportunity to win. It's not like that was everything. But when something is so blatantly terrible, I think it can get into the psyche of the team. I mean, it can throw
I don't think there's any doubt.
The Bartman thing with the Cubs in 2003, I think that ruined them. I think they had almost no chance of coming back the following game because that was such a devastating moment. It's really tough to come back from that.
I think the history shows that when you have a devastating moment, and let's think about the David Freese home run. And everybody knew that Texas didn't have a chance the next night, and they didn't. They lost. And those things happen. And as you touched on it, that's a distraction most can't overcome.
And on the other end, and Amy Marks Kors brings this up all the time, the hand pass game during the Stanley Cup run, that could have been a devastating loss that tanked the Blues, and it didn't. They came back from that.
The Pujols home run against Houston, and then they came back the next. So
Yep.
I mean, you give the
won,
Astros a ton of credit for what they were able to do there.
And they had to come back to St. Louis and play. It wasn't like they were going to play another game in Houston. So, yeah, you make a good point, man.
So football starts. It already has. Last night, Eagles beat Dallas, and tonight's going to be the Chiefs in Brazil. They will face the Chargers. So NFL season is ongoing. I am still amazed that St. Louis, despite losing a couple of football teams to different cities, they still come out to watch. People are still watching the NFL in St. Louis on TV. Part of that is the Chiefs. There are a lot of Kansas City Chiefs fans who live here, a lot of Packers fans, a lot of Cowboys fans. And I know we're all sports guys here, so I still very much like watching the league. Are you guys ready for it?
Yeah, I'm ready. And I'm that fan who likes to watch the game. I don't have a Chief pennant hanging on my wall, and I don't have Green Bay Packer underwear or pajamas or anything like that with Dallas Cowboys stars on them. I just like watching good teams play. And right now the Chiefs have been the cream of the crop, and obviously there's some teams that are trying to knock them off. And it goes in cycles too. I mean, there was a time where we thought the Chiefs were hot stuff, and then there was a time the New England Patriots where everybody hated, along the way. So everybody has their moment. Green Bay was in that position a few years ago, and I think with us living in the Midwest, it's easier for a lot of fans to find a team to latch on to, compared to being stuck on the West Coast or being stuck on the East Coast, and you're stuck with the Giants or you're stuck with the Jets. Here, because we don't have a team that's local, we have a lot of options, and there are a lot of people from other cities who move to St. Louis and have their own rooting favorites. So, while St. Louis may not have an NFL team, I still think it's a good football town.
More so than any other thing on TV, sports or otherwise, the NFL is the one thing that you can just turn on at any given moment, and it's going to entertain you. It almost doesn't matter. There's going to be a clunker here and a clunker there, but the vast majority of games have more entertainment value than just about anything else, and it's really easy to turn on. I didn't catch the beginning of the game last night, and then I turn it on, and it was a very entertaining game, and you're thinking to yourself, this isn't a very good Cowboys team. Are they going to pull the upset here? Like the narratives and storylines that exist with every single game in the NFL is so much fun.
For me last night, I went to a concert, and I was kind of keeping track of it on my phone. And we went somewhere and hung out. And I guess, did they have a rain delay or something?
A weather delay, lightning. Yeah.
Yeah. Because when we got to this other establishment, they were still in the third quarter. So we kind of sat there and watched it. And Dallas had their chances. They had their chances to win that game, and they just couldn't pull it off. But one thing about football this year, I think because of the interest of college football and the portal and so many other things that are going on, and you throw in the NFL where you can legitimately say they have very few weak sisters. I think this is going to be one of the most epic seasons of football we've ever seen. I mean, because there's so many good competitions that are taking place, and the NFL, God bless them, man, they put the meat into their schedule up front, where you look down and you say to yourself, it's going to be hard to find a team that's going to go undefeated, because opening weekend for some of these teams is they're playing some really good teams right now. So I'm looking forward to watching as much of this as I can.
Yeah, college football's done some things to try to adjust how long games go, but the NFL has it down to such a science where you're going to, outside of an hour and a half rain delay, you are going to get these games in about 3 hours. With college football, man, some of these things, 3.5, 340. It's such a more commitment. So the NFL knows exactly what they're doing in making sure that their game is an incredible television product. And they've got, no matter what you want to say about college football and the pageantry and all that goes along with it, the NFL has done a better job than college football at making sure that it's a good television product.
Well, and you throw in the fact that the elephant in the room, the wagering that takes place. What is it, $30 billion that's wagered on the NFL every year? I mean, that's a lot of money, and the bettors have really been able to infiltrate the NFL. We see it in baseball now. The NBA has had their challenges, and certainly college sports is dealing with it as well. I mean, they have a huge seat at the table right now, and it's something that once they allow them to participate, this is what's going to happen, but it's going to create interest and move the needle.
And for people who live in St. Louis, who live in Missouri that can't wait to bet on sports, going to have to wait a little less than 3 months. So for the time being, you're still going to have to drive across the river and place your bet. And then
if you like betting.
That's if you like betting, but December 1st, it will be legal here in Missouri. You'll be able to do it right from your phone. Clabe says that he likes watching good football. I, on the other hand, like watching the Bears. So getting ready for Monday night.
Bears are going to be okay. They're going to be all right. I mean, this is a sport, the NFL, you can get healthy quick.
Yeah, you can.
I mean, there's a lot of rags to riches stories, and St. Louis was one of them. They were awful one year, and the next thing you know, we're playing in the Super Bowl, and we've seen teams evolve out of that. So I think the key is, A, you have to stay healthy. B, you have to have good offensive line play. And, have somebody who can rush the passer. If you have those things, along with the common necessities of the NFL, you have a shot.
And a competent
You have
coach.
a legitimate shot.
Have a competent coaching staff. That
helps. But I think the fact that if you have those other elements, I would think coaching would have something to do with why those positions are good and consistent.
Matt Pauley has the pregame show tonight at 6:20. First pitch at 7:15. And before the pregame is Redbird Rush Hour at 5 o'clock, talking Cardinals at 5 on KMOX. Matt Pauley will be listening in tonight.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
That is Matt Pauley. Mike Claiborne still here. Chris Ranji. When we come back, 1980s Cardinal Terry Pendleton will join the show. He is going to participate in the 40-year reunion, which is happening tonight at Busch Stadium. Terry Pendleton next on KMOX.
When life happens and you need to sell your St. Louis area home, call trusted realtor Gloria Liu with your home sold guaranteed realty. Gloria is St. Louis's real estate expert with more than 22 years of experience and expertise, helping you sell quickly and for the most money.
Selling your home can be so stressful, especially when life happens, like a sudden job change, a passing of a loved one, or a growing family. Knowing exactly how much your home will sell in today's market is the first step. Then I back it up with an upfront written guarantee. My guarantee is simple and easy to understand. If I can't sell your home at our agreed upon price and time frame, I'll buy it myself.
When life happens, the name to remember is Gloria Liu, your home sold guaranteed realty. I strongly suggest you call her right now at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
All right, now it is 74 degrees and cloudy in St. Louis. AccuWeather Real Feel is 83. The weather brought to you by FanDuel Sports Network. Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your TV and streaming home of the Cardinals. Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network and stream the Cardinals, or watch through your TV provider. Visit FanDuelSportsNetwork.com for details.
Cardinal Cowboy here. After a coma, a miracle, and the fight of my life, I made it back to the games wearing my signature cowboy hat and jersey. Then came the baseball pants, the replica trophy, and the smiles and joy from the young fans. That's when the Cardinal Cowboy was born. Renner Garage Door knows how to bring joy too. With top brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, and family service you can trust, get your free repair or replacement quote today. Forward and back. Giddy up!
R-E-N-N-E-R, R-E-N-N-E-R.
Your home equity could vanish almost overnight, stolen by scammers who forge a deed and transfer it out of your name. The FBI calls it house stealing, and the worst part is you may not know it until it's too late. Find out if you're already a victim now at HomeTitleLock.com. Use promo code RADIO for a 30-day free trial, a title scan, and access to a title specialist, a $250 value. Go to HomeTitleLock.com now. Promo code RADIO.
Millions are choosing NordVPN to stay safer online. Get NordVPN today with 77% off and up to 3 months extra. NordVPN will encrypt your online traffic and help you avoid phishing, scams, and malware. Get the special NordVPN deal today at nordvpn.com. This offer includes a 77% discount on a 2-year plan and up to 3 extra months. Savings and additional terms apply and can be found on nordvpn.com. The offer is valid until October 15th.
It's back, and you're invited to join us in Forest Park, September 19th and 20th, for the 53rd Annual Great Forest Park Balloon Race Weekend, presented by PNC Bank. Attendance is free, and the number of memories and photos you can capture is endless. Special thanks to New Ground International and Blue Moon Brewing Company. The 53rd Annual Great Forest Park Balloon Race Weekend. For more details, visit the events page at KMOX.com. Now, the John Rooney Conversation on KMOX, sponsored by Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. And if you're a Missourian, we're for you.
Bases loaded, 1 out in the 5th. Pendleton just got his first hit of the day. He's 1 for 5. Off the stretch. Perry, a high fly ball into right center, and that ball's in between, going to be caught by the center fielder. They collide, and the ball drops, and they're both hurt, and Pendleton may circle the bases. 1 run home, 2 runs home, 3 runs home, and here comes Pendleton. The throw home, he is safe. The Cardinals get 4 more as the outfielders were stretched out in right center field, and it's 8-0.
Terry Pendleton made his major league debut in 1984, part of the 85 and 87 Cardinals National League Championship teams. Also a most valuable player. He played 7 of his 15 seasons for your St. Louis Cardinals, and Terry is here to celebrate the 40-year reunion of the 85 team. It's happening at Busch Stadium. Activities have been happening all day and into tonight, and we've got Terry Pendleton on the line right now. How's it going, Terry?
How we doing? I'm doing well. Yourselves?
Yeah, we're doing great here, and we're excited about this 40-year reunion. And as I've been talking about, that was the first team that I can really remember as a young kid. I was able to finally understand baseball at the time. And thinking back, it being 40 years, I mean, to me, that's a crazy number. How does it feel to know that happened 4 decades ago now?
Well, I think the crazy part for me was I was playing third base as a 5-year-old when that happened, you know. So.
You look great, yeah.
Yeah, so that was a little tough, you know. I was the greatest 5-year-old ever. No, it's honestly, as old folks would have told us when we were younger, it happened so quick, man. It really has, you know. To come think about all the things that happened in the course of that year, and then to sit back here this morning and have breakfast and hang out with some of the guys that you went through that with. It's been fun already, but it's been 40 quick ones. I will say that.
Terry, I was talking to Ricky Horton and John Tudor and Todd Worrell yesterday, and I asked them, was there one moment in the season that stood out for you that really brought this team together? Is there anything that stood out?
Oh, wow. That's I can't think of just one thing. I mean, it seemed like there over the course of the year, there's so many different things happen that so many different players help contribute to. I think the silent, I spoke to some reporters earlier, and I said the silent thing that was unnoticed, but probably the greatest thing that happened that year was Willie McGee's year. You know, nobody even thinks about Willie McGee being a most valuable player, you know, but when you stop and look at Willie McGee's stats on the 85 season, they are absolutely crazy. And Willie, being Willie, you would never know it and he would never speak of it, but it was an absolutely crazy year that he put together. But I think the strongest suit that we had in that entire year, to me, was the way we played defense, pitched and played defense.
You know, I one of the things that I miss about the game is when you guys would take batting practice, it was like watching the Harlem Globetrotters. And we don't see that anymore in the game where either the gates aren't open or players don't go out and take infield like they used to. And I just thought that was one of the keys to your success. I agree with you wholeheartedly because not only did we have an incredible defense infield wise, but we had some guys out in the outfield that knew what they were doing as well, starting with Willie McGee.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. You know, Vince Coleman came in early in the season when we traded Lonnie Smith to Kansas City, and Andy Van Slyke and Tito Landrum were out there in right field roaming it like they owned it. So it was something special. But you know, a lot of the thing that gets me the most is, and people didn't recognize, was the fact that the way Tommy Herr and Ozzie Smith played up the middle. I mean, I would literally stop and watch. I'm still a young kid on this 85 team. I would literally stop and watch when a double play ball was hit, to watch how graceful and how awesome it was to watch them turn a double play, no matter whether it came from Ozzie to Tommy or Tommy to Ozzie. It was absolutely something special to watch. You would have sworn these guys played together since they were 12 years old. They were so good at it.
You know, it's interesting you bring that up, because we have maybe the remnants of that in this current team with Mason Wynn and Brendan Donovan. He's hurt right now, but they started to have that same sort of synergy, chemistry, whatever you want to call it. And it's fun to watch those two when they're both healthy on the field, and you just don't see that a lot anymore.
No, because of the fact that baseball's gone to hitting the ball out of the ballpark, and I don't think the focus is on defense at all, in my personal opinion.
Terry Pendleton is with us here on KMOX, and going into every spring training, I think every player and every team thinks they have a shot at winning a World Series, but there usually comes a point in the middle of the year where a team really understands how good they are. Do you know when that happened in 85?
I think we knew at the end of the 84 season, we started playing better. We had a few pieces to that in 85, and I think we didn't play the way we felt like we should have in the first half. But I think the emergence and change in John Tudor in the second half I would say that was probably the turning point in all of our seasons, because of the way he pitched that second half and the way the rest of us continued to play. I think just added big time to our success.
You know, and I'll throw in Vince Coleman's arrival. That had a lot to do with it, because you had a legitimate leadoff man who could steal bases, and he could score without the ball going out of the infield. And I'll throw another guy. I thought Danny Cox really grew up in a hurry, and he gave you guys some quality innings in some big situations, along with Joaquin Andar. It's a pretty good staff. And then here comes Todd Worrell, who was a bona fide closer who was throwing gas at that point. And remember, Terry, there weren't a lot of guys who threw as hard as Todd Worrell at that stage.
No doubt. I remember, and talking about Vince Coleman made us all better. There's no doubt about that. We are going to see more fastballs when Vince Coleman was on base. So it's absolutely going to make us all better. No doubt about that. But Todd Worrell, I remember Todd coming in out of the bullpen. I want to say it was in Cincinnati, his first game. And he's running in from the bullpen, and Ozzie Smith calls me over, and he goes, "Hey," he goes, "can this kid throw the baseball?" I said, just wait. Because I was in AAA with him. I said, just wait. You're going to see something special here. And he goes, "Well, what makes him so special?" I said, "He throws that thing hard, and he's got a Bugs Bunny changeup. Just wait. Just wait to see this thing." He goes, okay. So, yeah, it was special. It was absolutely special. And, you know, a special thing for us, too, was Vince Coleman, myself, and Todd Worrell were all in the same 82 draft. And we all came up together. Vince and I spent a lot of time together being roommates in rookie ball, and in AAA we were roommates. So we spent a lot of time together.
Yeah, and that's something to be said for that, I would think, because when the Cardinals were good in the early 2000s, we had the John Jays and the Descalzos and Alan Craig. All those guys kind of came up together, and they'd won in the minors, so they understood what winning took place, what it looked like. But when they got to the big league level, it was something they were easily able to embrace. And I would think the same thing applied to you guys.
Well, there's no doubt about that. We focused on, being fundamentally sound. I'm in the Braves organization right now, and I preach this. I attempt to preach this. Listen, when you're in rookie ball with the Cardinals, when I came through, you were going to learn how to play the game the way the Cardinals wanted you to play the game. When you got to A ball, we didn't have to be taught how to play the game the way the Cardinals wanted to play. We knew how to do that. Rich Hacker made sure we knew how to do that. So we learned how to do that then. When we got to Double-A with Nick Leyva, Jim Riggleman didn't have to Nick Lava didn't have to worry about what Jim Riggleman taught us, because Jim Riggleman taught us how to play the game in A-ball like we did it in rookie ball, and how we were going to do it in Double-A. And we left Double-A with Nick Lava and got to Triple-A with Jim Fregosi. We knew how to play the Cardinal way. So Jim just had to manage that thing. And when we got to Whitey, he just step on in here and do your job. We ain't got to talk about nothing but signs. Different signs. That's all we had to talk about. Let's go play. And teams don't understand that. Organizations do not understand that, how important that is.
Well, you know what the problem I see is there's a lot more teaching at the big league level, because somebody missed the boat in the early stages. And so now you see coaches having to teach something that some of these guys should have been able to learn in Double-A.
Yeah, they should have learned that when you first got them. If you got them out of high school or college and they went to rookie ball, or if they went to A-ball or wherever they went to, they should have started on their way of learning how you guys want whatever organization that is, how they wanted baseball to be played. And if they don't know, then the organization needs to get together, sit down and say, hey, this is how we're going to do things. So everybody's on the same page. So when you get to the big leagues, as I said, you walk in the door, meet the manager for the first time or second time or whatever it is. And then from the manager, you go to the coaching staff and find out what the signs are, and you go play. Yeah, that's how it should be.
Yeah, and Terry, you've had multiple different types of coaching jobs. You've been a base coach, you've been a hitting coach, you've been a bench coach, now a roving instructor. Is there one that you really like the most? Is it teaching younger players? Is it being on a big league field or being on the bench right next to the manager? What is it?
I will say this: it's teaching young players. Because even at the minor league level, George Kissel was special, man. People don't understand how special George Kissel was to all of us. People don't understand how George Kissel taught and molded us. He didn't care where you came from. He didn't care what language you spoke. Baseball was the language, and he was going to teach it, because you were not leaving there not knowing how to play the way the Cardinals wanted you to play. You weren't going anywhere. People don't understand the importance of a George Kissel. But here's the other thing. Learning the game was so very special to all of us. Me, I love to teach in the minor leagues, because that's where, to me, the teaching should be taught. When you get to the big leagues, I will say this. I was in the big leagues as a hitting coach, and I love being a hitting coach when everybody was hitting. when they weren't hitting, boy, Bobby Cox would walk up to me every other week and say, hey, you got the toughest job here, man. That's all I'll tell you. You got the toughest job here. Now, when your team goes out and leads the league in home runs and leads the league in the least amount of strikeouts, yeah, I love being a hitting coach.
Hey, Terry, they say now the hitting coach is only as good as the other guy's slider or changeup. If he has one better than you, then your job's about to get tougher.
Yeah, it's a fact. It's a fact. And if my kids aren't hitting the fastball, we in trouble anyway.
There you go.
Bottom line. That's the bottom line.
Is that do you think that's the toughest coaching job in sports, just based on how much blame a hitting coach can get if things don't go well, and the amount of, you've got a different collection of hitters, and they all have different needs, and right? So it has to be one of the toughest jobs.
No, it is. But Bobby Cox wasn't joking with me when he was to see me every other week and go, hey, you still got the toughest job here, because you get 6 guys going and the other 2 stink. And then you get those 2 going and 3 others go down. It was constant. It was constant. And for me, is a challenge. I love a challenge, especially in baseball. Are you kidding me? I love a challenge. But it was constant. There's no doubt about that is the toughest job. I don't care what anybody says. No doubt about that. And if you're not hitting, guess whose fault it is? And they will let you know it's your fault. Oh, yeah. And they will let you know, whether it's the press or people in the state, whatever. They will let you know it's your fault.
That has to be difficult. Because we talk about it a lot in modern baseball, and we had a conversation with Brant Brown the other day here on this show, and how challenging it is, especially working with the younger players who are at the big leagues. They're still trying to learn, but they also need to produce. You've got to produce at this level. This is it's not. I mean, I guess you continue to learn as a player all the time, right? But once you're at the big leagues, you're expected to win. You're expected to produce.
There's no doubt. So I say this, and people may say, "Oh, well, you're wrong," blah blah blah. But it's not their fault if they don't know how to play, and they're supposed to produce at the big league level, they probably shouldn't be at the big league level. Let's be real about this.
Yeah.
Let's be real about this. And it's not their fault. So they're rushed up here and they're not ready for this and they don't produce. It is the minor league's fault. It's the teaching's fault. It's the organization's fault that this kid is here and not producing, and you put more pressure on him and he hasn't learned how to do things you want him to do at the major league level. It is not the kid's fault.
Terry Pendleton, it's been awesome to talk to you. We are looking forward to this weekend, the 40-year anniversary, the reunion of the 1985 National League Championship Cardinals. Thank you for talking with us today. It's really great to have this conversation.
My pleasure. Looking forward to seeing you guys.
We'll see you later tonight after the game. We're looking forward to it, man.
Sounds good. Yes, sir. Y'all have a good one. See you later. All right.
You too. Take care.
Former Cardinal Terry Pendleton, also a most valuable player with the Braves. And he will be with Mike Claiborne tonight at Live at Lowe's. That is after the Cardinals post-game show. And you can walk over there if you're going to the ball game tonight. It's at the Bullock, right across the street, Live at Lowe's. Just go up there. It's a great patio. Supposed to be a nice night, too.
Yeah, we're going to have some fun tonight. Ricky Horton is always going to join me, and then Danny Cox will be there. And I can promise you one thing. There will be at least one moment of laughter.
Of course.
At least one.
Of course. And there are still tickets available for tonight. So go get them. Cardinals.com. Cardinals take on the Giants. It is a 7:15 first pitch. The pregame show, all of that stuff is right here at 6:20 on KMOX.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're here for all of life's wins. Like when you get a new car, or new boat, or new driver, or when your son moves out, but your mom moves in, or you find out you're expecting again, or when one rental property turns into 2, then 20, or you realize they're all in Tornado Alley. Life is full of life events, so call your Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance agent or visit mofbinsurance.com to find an agent near you, and we'll make sure you have the right coverage for each of life's wins.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're for the people of Missouri, in good times and in bad. We're from Missouri families and Missouri communities. We're for giving back to those communities and lifting people up. And when Missouri weather rips through our state, we're for helping put back the pieces. We're for brighter days and new tomorrows. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. And if you live in Missouri, we're for you.
Hey guys, Dave Glover here from the Dave Glover Show. So, what is my show? My show is 4 different people living 4 different lives, all coming together every day between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. to talk about life, actual life, not so much headlines or did you see what Trump did today or XYZ. Never predictable because I never know what I'm going to talk about from one segment to the next. So it truly is unique and unpredictable. Join us.
104.1 FM, KMOX.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life.
Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Hi, it's Margaret from Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano. Life is change, an election, an illness, a death, and questions. What about my family, my retirement, my estate? Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano stand ready to help you plan for your life changes and protect what matters to you. They have listened, planned, and executed thousands of estate plans, taxes, and legal documents for over 30 years, right here in St. Louis. Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano make it easy to get started. Go to their website, yourestateMatters.com, and request their free webinar. It focuses on simple legal strategies and their process. Then schedule your free personal consultation. Life is change. Plan now. Your estate matters because you matter. Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano, yourestateMatters.com. Choice of an attorney is an important decision that should not be based solely on advertising.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. McKelvey is on the move with 3 new communities and prime locations opening soon. The early bird gets the worm, so get your pick of the home sites and the best prices first. Join our VIP list at McKelveyHomes.com. Strawberry Farms is located on Mexico Road east of Highway K from the 480s. Post Farms on Highway N near Duello Road from the 540s, or the Reserve in Wildwood at Highways 109 and 100 from $560,000 to $1 million plus. It's a great time to move up to McKelvey.
Millions are choosing NordVPN to stay safer online. Get NordVPN today with 77% off and up to 3 months extra. NordVPN will encrypt your online traffic and help you avoid phishing, scams, and malware. Get the special NordVPN deal today at nordvpn.com. This offer includes a 77% discount on a 2-year plan and up to 3 extra months. Savings and additional terms apply and can be found on nordvpn.com. The offer is valid until October 15th.
Today, the Cards, the Giants.
Cameron Total Access 520.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Mike Claiborne, Chris Ranji on the Gashouse Gang, and we are about to send it over to the Dave Glover Show in just a couple of moments. But Claibs, for the first time in 14 years, and the first time in Columbia since 2006, it'll be Mizzou and KU. Football is happening tomorrow afternoon, 2:30 kickoff. This is fun. You got the border war back.
You know, I'm so happy that they're going to get this game going again. And I remember the last time those two played over in Kansas City, one of the best games I ever saw under Gary Pinkel. And there's going to be a lot of energy and emotion. And I'm glad they're playing. And this is one of the things I've been preaching for the last few years about scheduling. Now the SEC is going to make you play 9 within conference. So you should always have a regional rival, Kansas or Illinois, a conference comparable team that you can play. If you finish in third in your conference, maybe you ought to play third place team in the Big Ten or maybe the ACC. And then you also save room for that traditional blood donor that you're going to put 60 points on. So everybody should be happy. But playing Kansas, let's face it, Missouri and Kansas, they can seldom agree on anything other than maybe the time of the day. Other than that, everything is up for grabs, and I expect a really emotional game tonight or tomorrow afternoon. And I wish I was there, but I'll certainly be trying to pay attention to it as we get between innings of Cardinal baseball.
Looking at 57,000 or so people are going to be at Faroe Field tomorrow.
Oh, they'll have more than that.
Yeah, that's. I think that's what's sold so far. Maybe I'm not sure, but
If you think about the South, the North End that's under construction, can you imagine what that's going to look like in a couple of years when they have that game again?
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
That'll be a lot of fun. That is it tomorrow. Mizzou, KU, they're back at it again. They've not played in Columbia in 19 years. So that's going to be a really fun day tomorrow. in Columbia, Missouri. All right, Mike Claiborne tonight at the Bullock, live at Lowe's, right after the post-game show is over. Cardinals take on the Giants at Busch Stadium. You're going to have Terry Pendleton, Ricky Horton, and more live at Lowe's.
And
We'll
Danny
be listening
Cox,
tonight. Danny
yeah.
Cox.
Danny Cox will
He's
be there.
awesome.
You just never know who else will show up. So I'm just saying, either come on by or make sure you tune in. We're going to have a lot of fun.
It's free for all. Mike Claiborne, talk to you next Friday.
You got it. Take care.
That is Mike Claiborne. I am Chris Ranji. If you missed anything on the Gashouse Gang, go back and get it wherever you get your podcast. Just search it out, or you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. Coming up next, it is the Dave Glover Show. Gashouse Gang back with you tomorrow, Monday at noon on 104.1 FM KMOX.